Hello, crispy skin. This week's big little recipe is super flavorful chicken thighs that are brined in a liquid that might already be in your fridge. But before we get into it, make sure you like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel for even more dinner ideas. The ingredients we'll need are chicken thighs, olives and their brine, bread, garlic, and parsley. Brining chicken thighs is a really easy way to season the meat throughout and make sure it stays super juicy once you cook it. Often people use salt water, which is really simple and easy. For even more flavor in this recipe, we are going to be using olive brine, so that liquid that comes in a jar of olives. So I have 1/3 cup here, and I'm just going to pour it over the chicken. And it's truly that simple. I usually have olive brine in the fridge and I use it for dirty martinis, but it's also great as like a pseudo vinegar for salad dressings and brining any kind of meat. So let me know in the comments what you like using olive brine for after you try this chicken recipe. We're gonna cover it and get it in the fridge, and you can brine it for like 8 to 12 hours. And in that time, the chicken is going to soak up all that saltiness, but also that really great olive flavor. I think it's broken. I think the lid is broken. Is it broken?
It's maybe cracked.
Oh, bummer. Good enough. And we're gonna put it in the fridge. So we have swapped in some chicken thighs that we started brining last night. What you wanna do at this point, once you take them out of the brine, is pat them dry really well. So the brine has done its job at this point. The chicken is super flavorful and happy, but if you don't dry it thoroughly, it is not going to brown once we sear it in our skillet. So I have a pan over medium heat. I added a thin coat of oil. And now I am adding our chicken. The one thing you do want to keep in mind with the heat, these are going to cook for like 15 to 30 minutes depending on their size. You don't want them to brown within those first 5 to 10 minutes because we're obviously trying to cook through the whole thigh. So keep an eye on them. Don't move them because you want them to be forming that crust and having that contact with the pan, uninterrupted contact. But you can take a little peek. You can rotate the pan. If it seems like they're browning too fast, I'll just drop my heat to like medium low. So while the chicken is sizzling away, I am going to prep the rest of our ingredients. I'm gonna pluck the parsley leaves, give them a wash, and then roughly chop them. So our chicken thighs have been cooking for like 15 minutes. These are relatively small, so they're probably ready at this point. When I put them in the pan, I forgot to sprinkle them with a little pinch of salt. But when I say little, I mean really little. The olive brine does like all the heavy lifting here. So go light on the salt. If you need to sprinkle more on when you're eating, sprinkle more on when you're eating, but it's easier to add than it is to take away, right? I'm gonna check them and see if they're good to go. Ooh. Hello, crispy skin. Now that I've flipped my chicken thighs, I'm going to add the olives. So I got an assortment of olives, which I really like because you get some green guys, you know, some big ones, some tiny ones, lots of flavors, lots of different shapes, but it's all just in one ingredient that I ordered. The olives are just gonna be frying in the chicken fat, which is a very beautiful thing. By the time they are done cooking, they're gonna be like a little soft and warm and really flavorful, like almost like an olive gone to heaven, like they're at their peak of joy. And I'm not gonna put the fry guard back at this point because that really gorgeous crispy skin, I don't want anything getting in the way of that. So the stove is just gonna get like a little messy, and that's okay, it's worth it. So these will go for another like 15 to 20 minutes. And while those are working, we can work on the rest of our ingredients. I'm cutting some sourdough bread into slices, tearing those into bite-sized pieces, and mincing the garlic. So our chicken has been going for another 15-ish minutes. Again, because these thighs are petite, I am guessing that they are gonna be ready. I'm gonna check the biggest one. We're going for like 165. Ooh. Oh yeah, they're ready. Okay, so at this point, I am going to get the chicken and the olives out of the pan. Can you come look at the olives? Okay.
Living their best lives.
Yeah, they're living their best lives. Look, this guy is perfect. See how he's like kind of crispy and fried? Oh, so I'm gonna get the chicken out. And the great thing about chicken thighs is that if you happen to take them past the temperature, that's okay, because they still are gonna be super moist and delicious, and that's also another benefit of the brine, so that even if they go a little farther, they're not gonna dry out. So at this point, I'm going to add the bread right to the skillet with all of the rendered chicken fat. And I'll just do a light sprinkle of salt here. And I'm gonna give them a good toss. So see, they are soaking up all of that flavor. And now they're basically gonna just toast up and turn into super delicious croutons. So the texture I like to go for here with like big croutons like this is crispy but squishy. So like crackly on the outside, but if you pick up a piece, it should still be pliable. Like we don't want it to be like a giant like square cracker, because it's just like not super pleasant to eat. These are just gonna do their thing for a few minutes, and I will just kind of keep poking at them until they're ready. So our croutons, they have a nice crisp edge, but if I pick one up, ooh, hot, I can still bend it. So that is perfect, that is just what I want. I'm gonna turn off the heat and get in the garlic. So because the garlic is minced, it really doesn't need a lot for its flavor to come out. And the residual heat of the pan, the warmth of the croutons, it's all gonna cook the garlic as much as we need it to. Wow, do you smell it? Okay, so you can like literally smell the garlic instantly from it touching the hot pan. At this point, I am going to stir in like half of the parsley, which kind of gives it like a vibe of almost like a green, which I really like. And I'm just gonna do a tiny splash of some additional olive brine. Woo! And now I'm gonna nestle the chicken thighs back in the pan, along with the olives. And then the rest of the parsley will go on top. If you don't want to put it all on, you can just do a little bit here and then bring the remainder to the table. It seems like a lot, but parsley is actually one of those herbs that you can just like eat straight up, like a salad green. It is so delicious. And as you're eating through all the components, it's really nice to sprinkle more parsley on top. So this looks so pretty. And I am going to sprinkle just a little more brine. It's almost just like an all-in-one vinaigrette that's just gonna add a little bit of moisture, additional flavor throughout the dish. So I'm just gonna do, perfect. So I have our chicken all plated up. I am going to try a nice crispy little edge and make sure I get some olive and some croutons. It's really good. You want to try? We barely salted it at all. Like the tiniest little pinch on the chicken, the tiniest pinch on the croutons. And it is so well seasoned. And that is almost completely because of the olive brine, which a lot of people just pour right down the drain. But here it transforms the whole dish. Like the olive brine carries the whole team on its back. So these are our olive brine chicken thighs with garlicky croutons and parsley. For the full recipe, head on over to food52.com and I will talk to you next time.